wrong to write off Peter O'Mahony based on this?
Yeah, he would. Yeah, he's a determined type bloke, always there to try and prove a point. And you know what it's like with the game now. We just talked about the Springboks bench, etc. What he'll bring for us is something very important. Not just the leadership part, but the know-how and the determination that he'll have in himself to prove a point.
Were you tempted to make any more changes or bring any of the new faces that you brought along in, or is the development they've got behind the scenes enough for them?
A little bit of both, to and fro at the beginning of the week, just because of the state of play with everyone really. There's absolutely no doubt if people were 80% and we had people 100, then 100% we make the change. But guys have pulled up really well on the back of what was a tough test match for us as far as injuries were concerned. So we're happy with that. But yeah, to answer your question about the young guys or the new guys in the team, in my opinion, you should only put them in when they're good and ready. The experience that they've had coming out here, and the chats that they've had with the coaches, the feedback from the training sessions, how we do things, how you plan to move on with them in the future has been absolutely priceless.
I know it's hard to go big picture on even a big test match, but you said Six Nations was a continuation of what you did at the World Cup. At any point, is there going to be a pivot towards the future, or is it always going to be that kind of continuation? And where do you feel the team's development is at compared to maybe where you were in Marseille and at the World Cup?
Well, Marseille was pretty good,
yeah.
And hopefully this game's going to be pretty good as well. Look, to me, we love winning, and winning matters. I just want to see a performance that we're proud of at the weekend, more so than last week. You know, I can sit comfortably with that because of where we're going as a team, the development. But I do think if you get the performance that we're after, we're more than capable of winning. I think the evolution of a side, it becomes obvious. You talk about those guys who could have been given a chance, but the opportunity they've had to come on tour, to know that they're in the frame, etc. It's now up to them. Hopefully, their appetite is where it should be for the pre-season, for the start of the season. And like I always say to you, and I say to the players constantly, especially those guys that you talk about, selection's up to them, not up to me. They've got to prove a point to be able to show that they're worthy of that space, because others are not going to give it away lightly.
Peter? Andy, it's Jack Crowley's 7th start. How do you assess his progress since he stepped into the hot seat?
Like you would expect it. I mean, he's a quality player, Jack, and his strength is he's able to stay focused when the chaos is all around him, and also when things are not going quite the way that you would hope that they're going to go, because that's Test match rugby. So as far as his 7-game progress is concerned, I mean, you would admit that he's played some really promising games for us, but it's the ones that he's learning from the most, and I've no doubt he learned a lot from last week of how to control the game, how to have authority on the game, etc. And I suppose that's the step in everyone's progress, really, when you're looking at such a young international career so far.
Thanks. John?
And the first test, second test in New Zealand, quarter-final to Marseille in the Six Nations, the performance was stepped up on each occasion. Do you sense that, or do you get a sense of that resolve?
I do, but you know what it's like. It's I mean, I hear some people say, "Wow, that was a brilliant warm-up," and I've had terrible performances. I've heard people say that was a terrible performance, and we've had some brilliant performances. We actually trained unbelievably well last Wednesday, and and Friday within the captain's room. We looked sharp, hungry. That's what I was disappointed with, how we didn't transfer to what we expect of ourselves. We've trained well again this week, and there's an appetite there, and there's a little bit of a spark in the right, but it's got to translate on the day. It matters. It matters on Saturday at 5 o'clock, and the opposition will have a say in that as well.
There was a couple of areas that you'd like to see improved, what would they be on Saturday? Without going into, obviously,
Plenty, honestly. The coals are going to go out in the barbecue in a second if we kept talking about where we're at from last week. I thought we were passive a little bit in most areas. I mean, you could put that to attack, defence, breakdown, set piece, all of that, you know. Just some real intent in what we're trying to do, and we've certainly seen that in training this week.
Final couple of questions, Murray.
Like, you're very honest about the performance, and I agree with you. It seems like a dip off. Like, it's such an experienced group who are remarkably consistent. Really, are you very blunt with them? Are they so experienced that you don't really need to do that?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. Sometimes I'm not. It's just a feel of how you feel the group is, etc. You know. But they're very good at wanting honest feedback, because if you don't give honest feedback, Murray, in my opinion, you don't care, you know, or people think that it's acceptable, and all of a sudden, if you're accepting something, then that's your 100%, and it's not the case. We're after better than that, so everyone agrees, and we move on and see what we've got.
Gary said yesterday that you have a phrase, I hope I'm not misquoting, that the next game is the biggest game in Irish rugby history. Something like that.
Well, it is, yeah.
Why is that the case this week?
Because we're playing against the world number one at home. After we've lost a game, we don't tend to lose two in the bounce very much. We need to take responsibility for that.
Last question.
Coach Andy, have you spoken to James Law? I mean, he had...
Have I spoken to him? No. No, he's been sent to his room and I've not spoken to him all week.
In some of the headspace, how is he going to this game? And also,
his headspace? I don't know. I don't want to go there, actually.
and then also, we saw there were so many emotions in that game. How are you going to keep that in check? Because some team, whenever that rises and they take advantage of that, how are you going to ensure that that doesn't happen? The emotion, the part where... Because
well, I'm sure that South Africa would look at some of the stuff that James Laws did as well, making sure that some of the good stuff that he did doesn't happen again as well, you know. So I think a mixed bag is an understatement, really. The sublime to the ridiculous, but you know, the glaring error was the one from the kick-off, obviously, and he doesn't need telling about that. He's not 3 years of age, you know. He understands that, but how we set up Jamie for his first try on his first cap was the real James Law. How we finished the try that wasn't a try was quite remarkable, really. So we know what he's about as a talent.
Sorry, just very quickly, Rory, last question.
Andy, can I just ask you, how are Dan Sheehan and Craig Casey?
Craig's like a bird with a sore head, not because of the concussion, because he's out of the test, obviously. He played well, didn't he? And he'd be disappointed to not have a chance to back that up. But he's in good spirits, and Dan's exactly the same. Yeah, he's a serious enough injury there, but both of them were desperate to stay on with the team. We'd do the right thing by the player first and foremost if they wanted to go home, but they want to stay with the team, and they're adding to how we are as a group, and it's great to see that everyone's rallying around them both as well, you know, and supporting them.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks,
Cheers.
everyone.